Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're going to be continuing Jesus' story, getting into crucified. So this is going to be Jesus' crucifixion right here. It's going to be a little bit of a long one. This is based on Luke chapter 23 all the way through chapter 26 of verse 52. John chapter 19 through chapter 23 all the way through verse 28. Matthew chapter 27 through chapter 32 all the way through verse 58. Mark chapter 15 all the way through 21 through verse 45. For days excited, Jews from all over excited Jews from all over Palestine have crowded into Jerusalem for the Passover feast. But on Friday morning, the city is greeted with startling news. Jesus of Nazareth is going to be crucified for treason. This is where the Good Friday and Easter and all of this comes from. Is from these days. This Friday would be a horrible day. But a rejoicing one for why he died. Jesus is now in the hands of the Roman soldiers who force him to carry a heavy cross through the streets to a hill called Golgotha. Sorry if I said that wrong. The place of the skull. As Jesus stumbles under the weight of his cross, the streets fill the strange mixture of the spectators and mourners, priests and the Pharisees who demand Jesus' death, whom weeping for the man who forgave sins and healed the sick, curious onlookers who want only to see the condemned man carry his cross. Two robbers are sentenced to crucifixion as well, which would be the other two men that were up there with him, or two thieves, would be as well as crucifix up there with him. On the way, Jesus falls under the weight of the heavy cross to keep the ugly procession moving. The Roman officer sees a bystander, Simon of Cyrene. You carry the cross for him. So on top of being beaten, he's been whipped. I think it was like 39 times. The crown of thorns, spit on, punched in the face. All that stuff. Now he has to carry this cross, which they believe weighed around 165 pounds. So you take a man who's probably around 150 pounds or whatever, and has been beaten, very viciously, to carry something that heavy. Even as far as he carried it, yeah, he dropped it, but as far as he carried it on his own, I mean, that was crazy. And then they had another man help him carry the cross. And one thing I want to get out there is the man who helped him carry the cross was a black man. So many people are like, many people are, and I want to point this out because many people are like, it's only for Jews, Christianity is, or only for white people or whatever. But he was in the part of the world that touches Africa and Asia and Europe and all them different countries, and all around there, all different color skinned people, all different, they all talk differently and things like that. And he belongs to everybody. He belongs to the world. He doesn't it's not just a white man's religion, it's not just a black man's religion, it's not just an Asian religion. He belongs to everybody. It's a world religion. No matter your skin color, your creed, no matter any of that stuff. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning when Jesus and the two robbers reach Golgotha. Soldiers nail the Son of God to a cross between the robbers' plot sign. Hangs over his head, Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. So now they take the most thing I can realize it, because as you would look, as thick as that wood probably was, especially being like 165 pounds or whatever, I can imagine that the nails would probably, were probably pretty big, almost like railroad nails or whatever. So you take one of those and they pressure him up right here to the middle of your palm, and they sat there and hammered, and they didn't just put it through. It's boom, boom. It's not just like it drills instantly through, boom. So it's slowly deeping into his hand. Just no matter, I gotta imagine the pain that would be. Then they stick his feet together, and they take one and they hammer it through both of his feet. The amount of time that would take, and the pressure and the pain that was. And why they're doing this. They spit on him, and they mocked him up there, and he's hanging up there, and he says, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they're doing." So could you forgive somebody who's putting nails in your hands, or has beat you, across the back with, a whip with pellets 39 times for something you didn't do? He didn't have no treason, but yet he still forgave them because that's Jesus' love. He knew, he even said, they know not what they do. They do not know, truly, because if they truly believed he was king, they would not be doing that. Even though he is the king, he is the Son of God. But yet they didn't want to believe that or nothing like that. And, another thing is we'll get to that. To the Roman soldiers, Jesus is just another criminal. They notice that Jesus has a nice robe. This robe is seamless. How should we divide it? It's too good to tear into pieces. Let's gamble for it. So now they're sitting there gambling and basically playing like poker or whatever for Jesus' robe, which is a sin. As Jesus' friends stand watching him suffer, curious crowds pass by, some who want to taunt him. If you're the king of the Jews, come down from the cross, then we will believe you. See, people want to see something in order to believe it. They have to see it to believe that it's true. Instead of, believing is seeing. So you have to believe before. You have to have that faith, in, without actually seeing him, do these things, but to know that this is true and that he did do these miracles. And the fact is he did miracles for people all around, and yet they still wanted to mock him because the devil was in everybody's minds. And, especially them priests, that they didn't want nobody to be above them. They were jealous because, he was favored and things. And, and he could have, with one snap of his fingers, thousands of angels could have come down and wiped this planet from existence. He could have destroyed us all that day. But he said no. He didn't do it because, as he said before, to this end was I born. This was his destiny. This was his purpose here on earth, was to fulfill this, because he saw the joy of thousands of people gathering in his name. He saw the joy of the happiness and the day that would come when we would come to his kingdom and rule with him and live with him in eternity in his kingdom. He saw that day, and he stayed on that cross for us. One of the robbers crucified with Jesus hurls insult unto, "If you're the Messiah, save yourself and us." And the other one says, "Have some respect for God. We deserve to die for our crimes, but this man has done nothing wrong." So the one, he's doing it in his own selfish, way of, he wanted to get down. That's why he's trying to taunt him for it. And the other one was like, we deserve this for what we've done, but he has done nothing wrong. He deserves none of this, and yet he's taken it in all of it. And I don't know if we'll share with it in this because this is a children's book, but a crow comes and pokes out the other one who's taunting him's eyes out. And now the other guy says, Lord, remember me when you come into your kingdom. He said, today you will be with me in heaven, or within paradise. Basically he got saved right there on that cross. And he knew he was going to die. And that's why he told him, today you will be with me in paradise. Jesus looks down and sees his mother, Mary, and his friend John at the floor of the cross watching his agony. And you got to think, too, why this was so horrible to die was because you're not just sitting there. They're not going to kill you. They're not going to stab you and kill you. You're sitting there, you're bleeding to death out of your hands and your feet. You're starving, you're thirsty, and you're dying out there slowly. And he says to John, take care of my mother. John takes Mary to his own home and cares for her like his own mother. It is now noon. A strange shadow covers the land. Jesus suffers for 3 hours under the dark sky and then cries out to God, Father, I put my spirit in your hand. Or as he says in the Bible, why hast thou forsaken me? And then he drops his head and he tells everybody, he said, it is finished. And as Jesus dies at that moment, he says, Father, why hast thou forsaken me? Because he's taking, at this time, he is not just dying there. He's taking in all sins from all time. From before his time, from during his time, from even after his time, all the way up till now, the sins you're doing now is what he endured there. And then he said, it is finished. And then he died. And people are like, well, what is he talking about? I even thought of this myself. What does he mean? It is finished. What is he talking about? And I learned this from Billy Graham. He said, he means your plan of salvation is finished. You can now come to God through him. You don't have to make these sacrifices and sacrifice these animals and things like that like they had to do before. Our plan of salvation is ready. We just have to accept it. An earthquake shakes the ground as soon as he dies, and so now the light, it starts, I remember reading this in the Bible and watching that Passion of Christ movie and everything. The lightning strikes and the thunder roars and all this. I mean, it's and they have a massive earthquake and everything. I mean, no one has ever died like this. As soon as they die, that happens. It was scary, and even the soldiers were like, this must be the Son of God. They admitted it right there. This must be. They were terrified. At the very same moment in Jerusalem, the veil in the holiest part of the temple has ripped into 2 pieces. What can it mean? Yeah, I forgot about that as well. Their giant holiest veil or whatever that they had, the giant purple thing, cloak on the wall right here, shredded in 2 at that moment. God showed his fury of it. God didn't want, he obviously didn't want Jesus to go through that, but he knew why he had to. They both did. And, at this moment too, he couldn't, that's why God has forsaken me, because he could not look at his son. Could not look on his own son that never did sin, that never did this worldly harm but love. And because God cannot see sin, that's why we had to get saved through Jesus. On a hill called Calvary, the Son of God gave his life for the sins of the world. The veil in the temple no longer separates us from the presence of God. Jesus, the Son, opened the way to God the Father. Outside the city, even the Roman officers in charge executed is awed by what happened. Reverently, he looks up at the man who forgave his enemies. Truly, this man was God's son. See, truly, this must have been the son. He knew. A soldier stabs Jesus with a spear to make sure he's dead. The witnesses are filled with grief. They slowly go back to Jerusalem. So just to make sure he's dead, they stab him in the side. And during all this, he's still suffering, no broken bones or nothing. They now lost all hope that Jesus was the promised Savior who would deliver them from the Romans. In Jerusalem, Joseph of Arimathea, a seared believer in Jesus, goes to plot. May I have the body of Jesus so that we may bury it before the Sabbath? Yes, I'll give the orders to the officers in charge. So now they go to, bury him in the tomb. Anybody can see that and, not be touched by it or whatever, has a heart of stone for sure. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about, what Jesus did. He did it out of the love for us. He did it, like I said, because he saw what we could be. He saw, that one day we will be with him for eternity. And that's why he stayed on that cross. He did it for us. He suffered for us. I hope you guys enjoyed this and learned, this story. I'm sure most of everybody has heard it, but it's a very good story. And please share Jesus' story with many others. We're not done yet with it, because maybe many don't know this, but Jesus come back to earth, I think, for 40 days after even death. I'll see you guys on Thursday. As always, take it easy and have a good day.